About 7 million or 8 million Chinese in Malaysia.
No, 6 point over.
6 point something.
Unless you help to reproduce more.
Maybe some have become Malays, I guess. Now the other thing, the question I want to ask here is, if Singapore has only about 4 million plus, and we have about 6 million something, how is it we cannot perform better than Singapore? That's my first question. The second question here is, if Singapore has GST and benefited many traders, how is it in Malaysia we cannot adopt GST and benefit traders across the board without saying benefiting just one race? Why are we not implementing GST immediately? Why are we kind of like, when we want to implement GST, some people oppose, and then we say we backtrack. Knowing very well, GST benefited many people in Singapore who are doing small-time business and making Singapore more competitive. Then I think these two issues are kind of like related. Why a smaller group can become more successful than a bigger group? And I think GST will in a way help to address this issue. I seek your opinion.
With Singapore, one is a country, the other one is an island state. So it will be more comparable if we say that, compare Singapore to Penang or Singapore to Hong Kong. There's a complexity involved in running a country and an island state. That's number one. Number two, we cannot deny that Singapore has done well. You have very good leaders who have done very well, better than Malaysia at any time. I would say that. I'm the first to admit that they have done very well. I come from Johor Bahru, I know. They have done very well. And we must really salute what they have done. But we have not done badly either. If you look at all the countries that have achieved independence from the 1950s until today, Malaysia is only one of the countries that consistently registered economic growth every year. But our growth has not been rapid enough after 1997. That's the reason why we are stuck in the middle income trap. And that's the reason why we need this economic transformation program to what we call a quantum leap to a high income. That's the reason why we all support the Prime Minister for doing this. Otherwise, we will be stuck. And if you look at the economic transformation program, all the time in this country, the development in this country is very government-driven. The private sector is not the one engine of growth. But under the economic transformation program, it is the private. And that's the reason why the Prime Minister has set up the National Economic Council, which meets every Monday. And I'm a member of that council. And that council will discuss and accept all application, private sector driven, of projects which will help to propel the country forward. This is the first time we are doing it. Because all the time it's government-led, but this time it's all private sector. And we need 150 million every year, from next year onward, average. And that's a huge sum of money, huge sum. And we feel that if the private sector driven and the government provides adequate support and infrastructure, in terms of infrastructure, not just roads and rail, but infrastructure in terms of financial, judiciary, everything is in place, we feel that we can lead that quantum leap, which we should have done 10, 15 years ago. We have not done it.